On this episode, the chase is on, or more like the Chase Brown is off. His name is Chase, and when he's off, Chase Brown is on. Confusing, I know. My narrator for this episode and good friend Jarrod, aka Turn Up Turley, said there are two chases, but ironically, you can't tell the story of the two chases without telling the story of the two Scotties. This was me when Chase first started performing. I was a guy that would make fun of him, be negative, and in no way supportive. Chase's arch nemesis, the Teenage Dirtbag. But now that I'm this Scottie, I'm so inspired, supportive, and somewhat envious of what he's accomplished. We also talk about the power of the dirty dollars. And may I add, Chase, thank you for inspiring people like me to do things like this. I appreciate you and I appreciate what you do so much. Thank you, thank you. Let's jump in.
Hey everybody, welcome to a Moderate Good podcast. I'm so glad you came back again, and this is going to be an amazing episode, so you picked the right one. And if you're first-time listeners, subscribe here on YouTube or on Spotify. You can follow me, Apple Podcasts. That would be so cool because it helps me out. It helps me bring great content to you. Shout-outs like we always do. Joe Andrade Media. He's the guy that does all my lighting and camera stuff. My guy Jason, he's at Wish Pocket. And these where you can find these guys on there on Instagram. He does all my audio, so why I sound so great and why my guest is going to sound so great is all because of Jason. Thank you, Jason. My guy Jarrod, he's at No Names Originals on Instagram. Support local North Carolina artists. He's out there doing his thing, doing bleach clothing that I wear on the podcast, plus like paintings and things like that. Real cool stuff. And so, help like it. It's hard being a starving artist, right?
True.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And last but not least, my guy, Mo, he has a Go Bubble app, and that is the car wash that is brought to you. And if you put in the code Go Moderately, you get a discount on that car wash that you don't have to leave your house for shit anymore. You just fucking stay there for everything. I'm not gonna mess around, guys. Welcome my guest, Chase Brown. Easily the biggest celebrity I've had so far. So Chase, tell all these people what you do, where they can find you, all that good stuff.
So hello, everybody. My name is Chase Brown. I am an entertainer from South Texas originally. I've been singing since I was about 14 years old. Now I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada. You can see me on Fremont Street at Notoriety Live every Friday night at 8 o'clock. Come see me.
And where do they find you, like on Instagram and all that good stuff?
Chase Brown Music on everything. Let's be friends.
Everything.
Yeah.
And you have your godson doing your TikTok.
Yeah, so if you see like a TikTok where it says like, I'm so hot and it's like glamour shots of me on stage, like I'm not saying that, but I just have this godson that like, he's in control of everything. So follow the TikTok.
He was also one of my guests. It's Reed.
Reed was your best guest. I must say Reed was the best. And yeah, now he's in charge of my my TikTok.
I mean, just everybody's moving on the world. And
we're all moving up.
And we also have in the studio a little Turned Up Turley, which if you follow the podcast at all,
Reed's dad.
Reed's dad. I mean, it's a family affair
okay.
in here
narrator
tonight.
For today.
Yeah. So and Jarrod's going to narrate apparently. So we'll
pieces and parts. He's
known me for 84 years, so I kind of needed him to tell the stories I couldn't tell.
So are you going to lead it like Once Upon a Time?
I'll stay away from the Once Upon a Times, but I'll definitely lead in with stories.
Okay, well, I need you to start the story. How does the story start?
Once Upon a Time.
I thought you weren't going to use Once Upon a Time.
I don't know. I just thought it was funny.
See? I really wanted to hear the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I would never picture you to be someone to need, like, I feel like that you know what you want to wear.
He does.
But like you default to Jarrod, so like I that blows my mind.
Yeah,
because
we can talk about that
because the level of confidence, like as someone that dresses, yeah,
okay,
as someone that dresses ridiculous,
Yeah.
Right. Like, I'm sure people all the time want to tell me shit about the way I dress. And I'm kind of like, I just don't give a fuck.
Yeah. See, I always ask the people that I'm close to their
Well, sure.
opinions on things. And
No, so how much value do you put? Like, so say that you had like an outfit you want to wear tonight.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like, man, I'm feeling this shit tonight. And you come out and Jarrod goes, don't wear that. What would you do?
I trust Jarrod. I wouldn't
What?
wear it.
No.
I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, but it's not just me. He does that with his close friends.
So what do
He
you do?
will.
What do you do, like performing and stuff wise? Like what do you do to?
So even when I perform, I can't set it to one outfit. So literally on my stage, there is a closet, not a closet, but it's like a clothing rack metal spiral. So part of the stage is me going over and changing 15 times during a 90-minute show because I want to make sure that somebody in there is going to get an outfit that they like before the show's over, get a picture of me in that outfit.
Okay, so do you change outfits because you don't know what to wear, or do you change outfits because you just want to wear so many outfits?
I think I want to wear so many outfits. I want to
totally.
feel brand new. I want to just kind of.
Does it re-energize you? Like so you're doing a show, you change an outfit, and then it changes the whole mood.
I'm a whole new thing. Or like there'll be a song or something, and I'm just like, I need my leather vest for this.
This is a leather vest song.
Yeah, it's a leather vest song.
No, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's just kind of, but you can't plan ahead. But I do, like the people that are around me, when I'm on stage, it's confidence. It always has been. Like when it's time, it's time. But the time leading up to that, I am so not that guy. I'm like, oh, is this okay? Is that okay? I'm very particular because I want it to be good for the audience. Like that's the number one thing to me. I'm not a musician. I don't play instruments, so I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the entertainment of it and the presentation of it. Are people going to like it? And that's so important to me that I don't think I know it all. I know how to do it. So I need opinions to kind of help me feel comfortable. Like, well, if they think it looks good, I trust them. So I'll kind of.
Do you send him outfits? Like, do you text him outfits? Like, hey, what do you think of this?
No, I don't think I have. I usually just bring a whole. Like, for example, when we're getting ready here, there's a red jacket with some fur, and he's not having it. So
it's awful. It's horrible.
Now I want to see this.
It's awful
it's
to
horrible.
him, but
you like it?
I love it. It makes me feel like $1 million.
You wear it in the show, or is that like personal wear?
Well, actually, I came out doing a Christmas song to it just because it's red and has the big fur.
No, that's awesome, though.
Yeah, so I did it one time a few weeks ago. I did Bells Will Be Ringing. It came out like I'm on a ski slope or something and I'm in the desert. So it's goofy. I took it off after the first song, but.
So I have a quick question, and I'm not going to lie, Jarrod, kind of like, okay, you get nervous before every show still? Do you get nervous? Do you still get nervous before you perform?
So it's weird. It's not like a nervous. It's more of an anxious.
Like a good nervous.
It's good. It's never
like it's an intense feeling.
Yeah, it gets like right before, and I love this because I've been doing it since I was 14.
Right.
And still, like every Friday night I go on at 8:00 in Vegas, and I'm still texting my manager who's up there on the spotlight asking like, okay, so who's in the audience, who's here, like what tables are full, who's in what couch, and just kind of needing that reassurance, or even from the sound guy or the ticket guy, like all those things are going through my head before I go on. But as soon as I hit the stage and the spotlight comes down, none of that's there. It's all gone. And I am just in my element, but I still get that like, okay, here we go, and kind of do this number.
I think that's so cool. I don't know how to explain this. This is how I'll explain it. Something between when I met my ex-wife and then when we got divorced and then what happened after that, it gave me a freedom to be the person I wanted to be. And I feel like you have been being the person you want to be since you were 14, right?
Yeah.
And like, I'm just curious about like what put that in you to like, because do you understand? Like a lot of people never even get to where you are like mentally of like living your dream. You in the little thing you wrote for me, you're like, I've never worked a day in my life. You know, I've never had a
Yeah.
regular job.
Yeah.
I mean, like
It's not normal.
you picked out a dream and you're like, this is my dream. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Like, and I would assume that like, you know, like you would set a goal and kind of go, okay, I made it to here. I don't know if like Vegas was a goal at any point, but you're like, okay, I made it to Vegas. And then I did shows. And then now you have your own show, right?
Yeah.
Or I guess maybe have you always had your own show?
Yeah. It's always been like a one-man show.
But I mean, you're moving up, right?
Yeah.
And like,
yeah.
I mean, you're doing it.
I know. I was talking to my ex-girlfriend last night and she's like, are you taking a moment to like take this in, you know, and take in some of these things that you're doing and opportunities that and I really don't, you know, because I stay busy. I was, aside from the pandemic, when that happened, I hadn't gone more than 2 or 3 weeks without being on stage since I was a kid. So, and it's not only for the love of it, but it's been my job too. So it's like
Everything was gone.
I have a weird relationship with it because it's not just my passion. It is my livelihood. It is my, you know, there's a line in a Jody Messina song that says, I'm singing for my rent and singing for my supper. I'm above the below and below the upper. And every time I hear that song, it kind of hits me right there because it's like, have literally been singing for my rent my whole life. But, I don't really think about like, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that. I just do it. And it's exciting when my manager will say, hey, we've got this opportunity. But I get excited for a minute. And then it's like, okay, what are we going to wear? What songs are we going to do? It's just get back on the grind, you know, and just go and wait for the next, you know, hopefully big thing to excite me because I do because I've been doing it so long, I need those exciting things. Like I live for, like right now, the thing that is got me going or that's like keeping me excited is for Christmas. Resorts World on the Strip is having a big enchant like Christmas extravaganza. The whole outdoor property of Resorts World on the Strip is like a Christmas maze, ice skating, the biggest, tallest Christmas trees in the world. And Las Vegas performers are going to be doing pop-up performances during this deal. So you buy a ticket, you walk through it all. And my manager, Denise, said, hey, they offered you this many shows, but I know it's too many days in a row. Do you want to tell me which ones of these you want to do? They offered me 58 performances.
No way.
So I said, we're not turning any of them down. We're doing all 58. So I'm doing with my Friday night residency and my Wednesday night residency. It's like 20 something days every single day for the Christmas. I get to kind of be Christmas and I'm so excited about that. I know I'm going to be exhausted and I'm going to be over it, but just the fact that I get to say that I get to do 58 performances at Resorts World, that's the kind of stuff that like, it rejuvenates me. It's like, that's what I got to do. So that stuff keeps me going.
Did it feel like hard work to get here?
Yeah.
But I mean, but like, you know, like anytime you talk to someone, or I feel like when they talk to someone that's a performer and is successful in what they do,
Yeah.
they always kind of talk about the sacrifices that they have to make, right? And you filled out on your form. I thought this was just fucking amazing that you were like, you're driving back home to our area of hometown, right? You were out of money, you ran out of gas, and you stopped at a nursing home and was like, and they were like, oh, we're playing bingo tonight. And you're like, would you rather have a performance?
Yeah.
And then I guess they tipped you like $20.
That $20 got me home.
And that's how you got there.
Yeah.
And so, you know, to have an opportunity to do these 58 shows, right? I guess what I'm asking is, I'm sure it felt like work because a job is work.
Yeah.
Right. But like, was it as hard as you expected? No. Was it easier? Like, what was your experience in getting here?
I think when I say it was hard, it's hard to keep on going.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like on the days where you're just like, why the fuck am I doing this?
Some days, I mean, I have performed at any kind of event. And like one of the first times I met Jarrod, I'm in a backyard singing for like 12 people. And I love when Jarrod tells it because he always says, you know, it's like you were at Madison Square Garden, the way I was performing.
Yes.
But those little shows, there have been some nights where it's like, why am I doing this? You know?
Well, I mean, you have to really put your world into context because and I think your audience needs to understand where Chase started. You know, anybody that's out there has to understand that this is a person that's dressed in these fabulous clothes with makeup on, is a dude, and he's in Victoria, Texas on a ladder jumping off of a stage. And in our world, in South Texas, that is not something that you see every day. So for all of us as participants in his world and watching it all go down, we were just like, wow, this is absolutely amazing. And he's right. The first time that Renee and I ever saw Chase was in the backyard, this guy's backyard in Rockport, Texas. And we were just in shock. I mean, we had moved from Austin like, 3 months before that. And then here we are in Victoria, Texas, and we're watching Chase covered in makeup, in outfits, and jumping a ladder in the backyard of a guy's house. I mean, we were just in shock. We couldn't believe it. First of all, we were like, thank God. That was our first emotion. There's somebody here that's awesome and fun and we can go and do things with. But the other part was like, how is this guy able to survive in this world? And I think there's a piece you have to be really conscious about, which is you pushed through at a time when that was not accepted. And we have to be realistic about that.
And there is no internet, and there's not,
right.
I mean, it's a totally different world
and I can
all the way around.
You got to remember this time frame that Chase, when we first met Chase and when he was performing every single night at Downtown Bar and Grill and doing all these different shows at nursing homes and wherever he could get his money to make his life work. This was a time when Adam Lambert was on TV. And I can remember, I will never forget this. Someone said, Adam Lambert, that's where Chase got his thing. And I said, no. Chase already looked like that before Adam Lambert ever came on the scene.
I remember being so upset when he came on. Yeah, because people would say, I bought a white suit one time. And the next week on American Idol, he comes out with a white suit and all this eye makeup on. And I was like, damn.
But you were in Victoria, Texas, and you were already ahead of that curve. That's when I thought, oh my gosh, like Chase, not only was he so much fun to go watch as a performer. I mean, that was just like our thing, and then we just loved the performance aspect of it.
Well, you bring it every single time, right?
He brings it every single time. And just like he said, 12 people, or we have seen Chase perform in front of 1,500 people, literally packed. You can't even move. And the same show at 1,500 people is the same show we saw with 12 people. And that was every single time.
Here, I want to make a really straight up fucking statement. Okay. If I had gone to a party, and when I was in my 20s, if I had gone to a party and I had saw the dude perform in the backyard, I'd be like, this fucking loser. I'm not even gonna lie.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
But here is where my perspective changed. Now that like my head is in a better place and I see like what you did, and like you talk about the days that you had to grind that when you just didn't want to do it anymore, like that is the utmost respect to do that. Like you developed a show and a style and a thing. You're like, this is my thing. This is what I do. This is what I'm bringing. I'm going to bring it every single night. And that is, I have mad respect for that, especially after doing this. Like putting myself out here in this way.
Yeah.
And to think that you've been doing that since 14 and I barely figured that out like fucking 4 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that, your life must feel full. Like you must have some level of just like, I don't know, blessed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so thankful. And I've been thankful for a long, because I was thankful that I was getting away with this 10 years ago.
Right.
Even
when you weren't making as much money, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Even just the fact that I was able to do it. But I mean, 100% of the credit, well, I would say it's kind of split because my mom was singing in bars and stuff, doing what I'm doing when the shows were ran. She was one of the first kind of acts in Texas that, if a bar couldn't hire a full band, they would get tape acts and people, it's like literally right when cassettes were a freaking thing.
So your mom would play a cassette?
There was a company of just instrumental albums like karaoke, but on cassettes. And they were so expensive to get these cassettes of like, professional musicians playing Lori Morgan and Tammy
Whatever.
Wynette songs. And she was in bars doing this before I was even born. So growing up, like one of my first memories, I'm in the back of my dad's pickup truck because I couldn't go in the bar, but I still remember being outside of some little bar and who knows where off 111 or some little Texas highway, and like my mom singing the Judds. And I'm standing up like holding the truck, so I'm little, but I can still remember like I want to be in there. I want to get in there. So like when you say, you picked this thing, I really never picked. I mean, between my mom and then my grandmother, and when I'm like 4, 5, and 6, she's setting up cameras in the living room and filming me singing every word to every song that the country performers would do on like the CMA Awards. She'd record those, and then I'd watch them over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd have a little bitty microphone, and I'm like 5 years old, and there's not a word that I miss. One time the wire was sticking out, and I thought, oh, the camera, the people are going to know that this microphone isn't plugged into something. And like during the song, I whipped that damn thing, whoosh, so it went behind the couch. So even at that young of an age, I'm thinking of what this presentation looks like. And that to me sums me up. It's just like, it's always been like, let me try to sing, put as much emotion, feeling into these songs, and try to maybe just make it look like it's supposed to on the stages when the real stars did it, you know? So I never really had a chance, or I never really said, this is what I'm going to do. It was like, this was bigger than me.
That was the example that was set.
Yeah.
That this is something you can do.
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And I remember when I was like 14 or around 14, my mom was doing shows at Dodge City in Victoria. Every Wednesday night, she would get up and just do a show with her tracks. And I would beg her to go. And she was like, no, you can't go to the bar. And she didn't really know that I'd been singing. Because when she'd go to work, she had multiple jobs. She was a hairdresser and a waitress and a home health aide. She just did everything to take care of us. But her nighttime gig was going out and singing. And I would play with that equipment when she was gone. So one day I put on a Brooks and Dunn song for her, and I sang it, and she said, okay, go get dressed. We're going to the show. Yeah. So I did 2 songs with her that night, 4 songs the next Wednesday. And then we were doing like a 50-50 show. And that's when we started. I mean, we're booking in little Magnolia Beach Baywatchers bars. And next thing you know, I'm 15, 16 years old. I'm hanging from the banisters. Women are shoving money down my pants, and I'm becoming this, that's my character, that I didn't sit down and sketch it out or etch it out. It was just week after week, show after show. The confidence builds from the people showing you that love, and you get a little riskier. And it just became a thing when she got remarried, when I was about 16, 17, she said, you can take the date book with our weddings, bar mitzvahs, whatever we had booked. And she said, you can take this, do nothing with it, or do everything with it. And I took the speakers in that date book, and I go back now and can look at these things, and it's insane. My hustle while I'm going to high school, it's never stopped. Every single week, there's not a week where there wasn't something that I booked. And it's just crazy. I can't really take it all in because it's never stopped. It's just keep going.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it hard for you not to be on? Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like to be like, is it hard for you to just not
chill,
be Chase Brown? Like, you know what I mean?
But there's 2 Chase Browns.
There's
I
2.
mean, I didn't mean, what I meant was the Chase Brown, the performer. Like, you know what I mean? Not, I mean, do you want to jump in, narrator?
Well, no, just because
he's narrating your life over here.
And I'm so glad he's here because.
And when it was 1994.
Well, the things that I could find uncomfortable talking about, he knows me so freaking well that I'm so glad he's here.
Can you please, so Chase doesn't have to, can you tell us about the 2 Chase Browns, please?
Yes, I can tell you about the 2 Chase Browns. And I think it's a valid question because there is the Chase Brown, the performer, and there's the Chase Brown that there's a group of people that get to see. The Chase Brown that is not the performer is a very relaxed individual. He wants to chill inside, watch TV, quiet, calm. He likes a clean space. His house is immaculate at all times. Like he lives in a very clean, calm, serene. Everything is just very structured, which is so different than his performance. Because if you go to his performance, it's everywhere and it's wild and he's jumping and there's ladders and there's women and there's fire and there's, there's just these two different worlds that exist with Chase.
They ain't that different.
No, you don't
Hey,
think so?
let me ask you a question. You like controlling every aspect of that show, right?
Yeah.
So when you keep an immaculate, clean house, right? That is kind of an example of control. You can control.
No, I
that.
agree with that.
But I'm saying, like,
I agree with that.
They're linked in a way of like it's controlled. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he is a very relaxed, calm, totally different person when he's not in the spotlight. I mean, that's it. And we love both Chases. I mean, they're exciting. Both of them are fun.
You have to have kind of a character.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and his Chase Brown character is so much fun. I mean, going to his performances and watching that whole scenario, what I love. In the beginning, it was all about watching Chase perform. But now what we enjoy so much when we go to Chase's show is watching everyone else because we know their performance and we love it and it's fun to watch and we get to hear songs that we love and new songs that he's doing. But we like to watch people who have never seen Chase before or who are so excited to be there and they're ready to drop dollars and 20s and hundreds down his pants. I mean, that's the funniest shit to us. Like, we love that part of it. It's fun to watch everybody else get excited.
We'll make eye contact though too. Like something will go on and I'm still in the character for like the woman that might be shoving a 20 down my pants, but something will happen or some woman will be drunk
You'll
and
feel something else.
Well, no, like a woman, like I'll be performing and like say some woman's just like she might be so drunk that
she's on top of the ladder.
She's just out of control and I can just kind of I never make anybody else feel uncomfortable if they're in that position.
Never.
But I can make one look at eyes at Jarrod, and it's like we know it's like I'm kind of chased with him for a minute, or I'm normal. I'm not that character for that moment. So I love having people in the crowd that really know me, so I can kind of break free.
Does that make
from
you?
it.
Do you feel more comfortable with friends in the crowd?
Absolutely. And the great thing about being in Vegas is just about every week I'm so lucky to have people surprise. And it's like, hey, I knew you from this show or I knew you from here or there. So I really do love that because that gives me like a comfortable, I'm at home kind of feeling. But I also, like one of the main reasons I moved to Vegas was so the audiences would recycle and I wouldn't have to move,
Yeah.
Like after so many years.
You have a residency. That would be what it's called, right? Yeah. So like, I mean, everybody's doing it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the best, right? Like everybody comes to you.
Yeah.
As a personal trainer, it's way better when people come to me.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
But you've garnered so much new business from that, which is what I think is so interesting. Like when you go to New Jersey every year.
Yeah.
I mean,
I get to
California.
do crazy random things, like this is just now released. I get to go perform in London, England in October. I get paid to go sing for the Elvis Presley London experience or English experience in London next year. And it's all one thing leads to one thing leads to one thing. Like somebody hired me to do a party in Newport Beach, California. And that party, the people that run it have a big Elvis kind of fan club deal. So there were Elvis impersonators. There was one Elvis impersonator at that party. Well, his manager is there, and she's actually booked me in Dallas for this Sunday. And because of that show, it booked me to London, England. So it's like, just because I go here, it leads to this, leads to this. It's not planned out. It's not strategic. It's just like, oh, now there's something else cool to do.
Well, that's kind of, but like, it's like, that's what you've been doing, but now it's on a larger scale, right? Like, it's like, you used to travel and do shows and blah, blah, whatever, go to El Campo and things like that, or you still do, right? But like
twice a year.
But then like, like now it's like you're not going to El Campo anymore. Like you're going to London. You know what I mean? Like that's like so cool.
It's crazy.
I have two quick questions. No, go ahead.
Well,
and I'll ask
just what I was going to say.
Stupid.
No, one thing about like the El Campo in Victoria, a lot of the people would say like, why, when I left 10 years ago, at the early parts of it, it was pounding the pavement in Vegas and it was hard. It was so hard. And after being there for about a year, I had to come back and spend a few months. I was hosting a radio show and 104.7, like a co-hosting a morning show and doing my little downtown gigs again. And it was ripped my heart out to like tail between your legs, like, oh, when you leave and there's a front page newspaper article that you're leaving and then you got to come back, you don't recover from that.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Yeah.
It's very hard. But what did I do? I got my ass back on stage and I kept going. And a few months later, I got the call, hey, we have a show for you on the Strip at Bally's. Do you want to, it's just a one show and see how it goes. I packed up everything because I knew that one show was going to do it. And by God, it did. When I did that one show, it was a good thing I packed the dog in the car because they said, okay, we need you twice a week. And I've stayed there. I've been busy ever since, but I always come home. And now it's not because I need to pay the bills, but it's because I know I worked so hard creating something. And it's those people that have been coming out to see me since I'm 14. Well, by God, on Thanksgiving or on Christmas or whenever, I'm going to come home and I'm going to put on a show and they're going to come back out just like they did. And I'm going to keep that relationship. God forbid anything ever happened. I'm still remembered. I'm still known. I'm still relevant. But if nothing else, I still have this connection with these people. And every time they're in Vegas, they come see me. And it's not like, I remember you 10 years ago. It's like, man, your show was great on Thanksgiving and we're glad to be in Vegas to see you. So I'll always keep that going, no matter how big it goes.
We can't forget where you're from. You know what I mean? It's
you can't. And I love it. I mean, I just,
are those are fun shows, right?
I mean, just the other night when Jarrod came to El Campo, it was one of the most financially best nights I've ever had in the 20 years I performed in El Campo.
Oh man, this is leading right up to it.
Okay. It's just insane.
I want to know, what's the most money you made in tips in one night? Can you tell me? Okay, I mean, you don't have to tell me. I mean, you can ballpark it if you don't want to tell me.
You're
exact
just
number.
talking about what gets stuffed down his pants.
Just down your pants, like not like what the bar pays you, like the door, just in your pants. What's the most money you brought out of your pants?
Over $1,000 down my pants.
That's fucking crazy.
In an hour or two, yeah.
Is that like awesome? Is that like awesome?
Yeah, it's great.
I always tell the story. I love the story.
It averages around 5. I mean, like just on a good. That's just tips that go in the bucket. My manager and I have a fun thing where like after the show, it's so she's great. This woman, Denise, like she's like a momager to me. She takes such good care of me and just she's gotten me to the level that I am in Vegas right now.
You kind of need that person, don't you?
She's amazing.
If you want to take your career to another level, you have to have
somebody.
Yeah,
she's very structured.
She because I'll let people walk all over me. I'll go do, hey, my wife's having a birthday. Will you come down here and play? I'll do it. But Denise is like, yeah, you're paying this. I would never do that. So I was taken for spins, my whole life. But now it's like, she takes care of it. So one of the fun things we do is after work, it's like, we've got a bucket that's covered in disco ball mirrors, kind of like my ladder. And we get to my house and it's just like flattening out all the dirty dollars. How many dirty dollars did we get tonight? So that part is still fun to just kind of sit around a pile of money, just like I'm 14 again. And that's still the same.
Can I say, okay, so like I used to bartend, right? Yeah. And so there's that same kind of thing, right? And there's something about counting like hard worked, dirty cash.
Oh, dude.
It feels so good.
You're like, yeah, motherfucker, I made this money.
Just the other night, I'm in the hotel room in Wharton, Texas, man, and the whole hotel bed is just cash all over it. There's I would never post anything like this, but to my like 5 people, I'm like, hey, look what I did tonight.
But I mean, I think that's, there's just.
You've earned it. It's like sweat is on those dollars.
Yeah, I mean, and to your point, like it just probably, every time it happens, it reminds you why you started doing this.
Yeah.
What it was like in the beginning. Remember where you're from. It just kind of reinforces that, like, hey, I'm doing this for a reason.
Absolutely.
You were talking about earlier where you said, like some days I don't know why the fuck I'm doing this. I don't know why I'm doing this. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that, like in the small amount of time I've done this, I feel that there's days where I'm just like, why am I recording videos in my garage and doing a podcast?
Yeah.
And then something will happen and it reminds me, oh, that's why you're doing this.
Absolutely.
Like, can you think of one? Like, is there like?
Oh, dude. So every Wednesday, I drive out of town. I wanted to do like a couple weekly shows, but because my Friday night in Vegas is like a ticketed,
You have to do that one.
residency, yeah, I didn't want to do something else in Vegas that might take away from that.
Right.
So a friend of mine owns a country bar called Rhinestones in Pahrump, Nevada, and Pahrump is it's a little town. It's famous for the whorehouses, the chicken ranch, or the whatever, the old school. So it's just a little Nevada kind of out in the boonies kind of town. So it really feels
Like home.
to me. So we do that every other Wednesday now. We're going to be doing it, but you're making that long drive, and some nights it's line dancers galore, and some nights it can be a slow night, but my diehards, every single Wednesday, my ladies are there and they give me notes. This one lady does calligraphy and makes me the sweetest things, draws me pictures, and comes up and shoves money down my pants and kisses me on the belly button, and everybody in the place laughs and they're dying. But me and this woman, I make her feel special and she makes me feel special. So it's not
It's a nice exchange.
It's a beautiful exchange. It makes me feel so good that, a lot of people are like, how could you do that? Or when I go to assisted livings and these, women are having me, this one woman had a pair of black panties and she said, grab it by your teeth right here. And I pull out, there's black panties with a room key on it.
At a nursing home?
Yeah, assisted living. Yeah, she's got her leg up in a wheelchair and I'm swinging around panties that she had with a room key on it, And people are like, oh my God, how could you do that? I'm like, brother, that is what I do.
Hey,
when I
I
drive
like that
away,
old lady shot her shot. She was like,
no, she did, to the point where a few weeks ago, this guy named Scott is the activity director at this assisted living. He buses them in for a field trip to my downtown Vegas show, bro. Here they come. You want to talk about tips? Some of them fingers, they were frail, boy, and I'm just trying to help them out to get it down there. But there's over $500 down my britches that night, and
that's probably all ones too.
Totally.
Like 500 old ladies,
500 ones, bro. But you go in their rooms, and I'm hanging up on their walls, right? That's what keeps me going. It's not the money, it's not the this, but it's that I've always loved to make people feel special, or whoever might not get a lot of attention, or who might be, special in different ways. I am immediately attracted to that. Where if somebody else might be like, look at this crazy person over here, I'm like, I'm going to go touch her on the cheek and kiss her right dead on the mouth and sing her like it's just, I'm about to propose. And it's priceless what it feels like to both of us.
Yeah.
So that's been something that literally since I was a kid, that's been the same.
Do you remember the first time you felt that?
Yeah. So Mom, actually, when I was really young, I didn't want to. I was nervous to go to a nursing home, but it was actually
the very first time.
The very first time, it was the Ganado hospital that I was born in, converted to a nursing home later on. And these people, they were in bad shape. And I was really young, and I was so scared.
Well,
and so
old
nervous.
People are scary when you're a kid.
It's so scary, right? But I loved Elvis, and I knew, that was kind of their generation of music or whatever, So I did it, and that very first time, seeing them light up, I would do it once a month for free, every month, all through high school, all through everything. I would do every county from, here to there. I would just pick one and go do it because it just felt that good for me. And it's weird that I get paid for it as a job. That's what makes me know that I still care. It's still the same. It's always been the same. I'm just more blessed to get to do it in
but you still do that today. You're still doing nursing homes.
Yeah. No, I
think that's not a love letter to you, but it is true. You've always, I would say some people know that you do the nursing home thing, but that's always been in the background. You've always done that.
Yeah.
That's not something new. It's not like,
I've
got to give back.
Yeah.
No, you've always done that.
Yeah.
And
it's real. I can see, I'm sure a lot of people could see that and be like, this gay ass cowboy is trying to, but it's very, it's just who it's really in my heart. It feels too good when you drive away from it. That's what I remember, is not actually doing it, but that you get in the car and it's like, I just did something, you know,
You created something.
yeah, they're going to remember that. Those pictures are going to be on their wall. And one time it got me out of a speeding ticket. This guy.
Like you said, hey, I'm coming from a nurse home. I just did a show.
Nope. This officer pulled me over speeding, and it was around the Wharton, El Campo area. And it was the Miley Cyrus song that really got me the speeding ticket.
Like you were just like, what song?
I can't wait to see you again. And I'm just like cruising, like it had just come out and it was my jam. And then whoop, whoop, they lit me up and I'm like, God, I can't afford a ticket right now. And I hand the officer my ID and he says, do you sing at the nursing home in Edna? And I said, yes, sir. He said, my grandma's got a picture of you up on her wall. You be safe out there. And handed me my ID back. And I was like, hey, like that was finally some good karma came my way. But yeah, so once, and that's why I keep doing it, just so I don't get a ticket.
No tickets. Oh, man. Okay, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think that the old people knew that Liberace was gay?
It's so weird. No. And
so now next question is,
and the only reason I know is because no.
Yes. Like, so do most old people not know that you're gay?
They see,
or do they just ignore it? Or like what, like, are they?
It's like the chicken or the egg. I really don't know, but I know that, like most people that know me or see me instantly, you would think it's not cat's out of the bag, right? But for some reason with women, even to this day, like I was just a week or two ago in Palm Springs, and in Palm Springs, like this plus being in Palm Springs should just completely read gay.
Right.
And this woman, like a very nice looking, probably mid 30s, early 40s woman comes up and is just talking to me like she's shooting her shot. And then she said, are you gay? And I was like, yeah. She's like, no, you're not. And I was like, oh, yeah, I am. As I get a little squirrely on the weekends, but and she's just, you could see the shock on her face. Like she thought she was going to take home the cowboy. And I get that at the shows, especially from the older ladies too. It's just like, you couldn't tell them that. You couldn't convince them that for a million years. And I think it's the Liberace effect. I really do. I think
that's what I call it.
It's the Liberace effect because they don't want it. That's their man up there. You can't tell them nothing.
But I also see it even when at your shows with cowboys, like country boys from like the country. They're like up there on stage, like riding your ladder and stuff. And I'm like, this is so confusing. Like,
yeah.
Last week they were like riding around with Trump flags in the back of it. I'm like, I don't understand, but they love it. There's almost like it's not that all just floats away in your show.
I'll say this: an owner of a club, I won't say his name or the club, but it was one of the big ones. One of my when I'm really young,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I was just kind of coming out and kind of coming into my own because for a while I thought I needed to have the girlfriends and I needed
do
to
all
play
the
the
shit.
game. Yeah, do it. So finally, I was like, I'm gonna just be me and see how it goes. And the shows started getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we're in the country, and people are coming out. We're getting hundreds and hundreds of people, and this guy, oil money kind of guy, he's booking me up solid, and he tells me one day, man, people that hate fags love you, and I'll never forget that. Was like, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I wear it now as like a badge of honor though, because it's like, I hate that anybody hates fags, but I love the fact that even people that come from that background, they'll come out and see my show and love my show. Always.
Why do you think that is?
I could not tell if I knew.
So I have a theory. It's so interesting because I wanted to ask you this and you kind of set it up. The weekend before, I went with my fraternity brothers and we shot guns. We listened to music, we drank, and a lot of them talked about girls. Okay. When I went to hang out for Jarrod's birthday with Lane and all them, we shot guns, we listened to music, we drank, but we just talked about dudes. Right. And they're all from very small towns in the way you're from a small town.
Yeah.
I'm curious if being gay from a small town gives either those people a perspective or you a perspective or both of y'all where it's like you understand each other a little bit more. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I think maybe it was just the way that I presented it or the way that and maybe it was the way that I've always presented towards women. And I kind of sing, like when I'm performing, I've done events at, for Pride and for stuff like that, but
I still don't think you're gay, huh?
Something I still don't. No.
He's so nice. He does those Pride events with those gays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Can you imagine a straight guy doing so many Pride events?
He is straight
In
to
a
bed.
jockstrap.
He is straight to bed.
Straight as can be.
They made him wear that jock strap. I
Straight as
can't
an arrow.
believe it. They're complaining. Chase, I can't believe they made you wear that jock
I
strap.
know the gall of them to do it. But women are who I am
Catering to.
almost like a, not Chippendale, but you know what I mean? Like that kind of like, I'm not up there being little Nas X on a Satan and writing him dirty. I'm trying to make a woman blush.
Right.
So the women would always come out for that, and then the men would come out because the women came out.
It's totally
but
true.
They would totally, I think that would just, they would find themselves enjoying the show and just the craziness of it all.
Well, I mean, in personal experience, like, because their wife is happy, you're a lot happy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
If she's happy, you're like, cool, man. I can drink some beers and not have to worry about shit.
My bass player used to say, "Don't worry, fellas. Chase is just pumping up the tires. Y'all get to ride the bike home." You know. I think that kind of sums it up to where everybody was just kind of okay with it. But at the same time, too, I had a kid send. This was back when MySpace was a thing, and this kid sent me a message saying that, his parents are totally anti-gay and he could just never come out to them or never even think about anything gay with his family, but that they were sitting at the dinner table and his parents were talking about Chase Brown's show. And he was kind of like, in a way, thanking me for having something gay be okay with his parents. And that's a message that I'll always kind of remember. The premise of that was like, even if it's somebody's dinner table, I'm not there, I don't know anything about it, I'm opening up conversations or people are talking about this, and maybe some kids feeling like, well, maybe it is okay.
You know, I think
that's important.
I think so interesting about that. One, I wonder if his parents knew you were gay.
Oh, they did, because that was in the message. Was that like, hey, he's gay, we're going to see a show, and that was an acceptance to him.
So they probably didn't know how to approach him about this subject. So they're like, hey, we're gonna go to this show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like it kind of opened up some communication, I would think, for him, which is really cool.
Hopefully, yeah. But just that's kind of, during that time, I love that I got away with it. Nobody. I can't imagine.
Well, I don't look at it as that like you got away with it. I looked at it as like, in a really weird way, you made people accept it. You go like, this is what it is. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to ride a ladder. You're going to sit there and you're going to have a good time. You didn't like give them a choice, which I think is great. Right. And like the belief in that being that person, that's what got you to here. You know what I mean? Like if you don't believe your bullshit, nobody else is going to fucking believe it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're in my garage right now and you took a picture with a stuffed armadillo. You know what I'm saying? So like I have to get you believe like, hey, we're here and we're doing this thing just like you do with people at your show. I think that's like great.
Yeah.
All right. I have two questions. When you're dancing for girls, do you imagine girls or guys?
I don't imagine anything.
Is it about you? Like, no, but, which I think is like probably the best answer. No, I'm not even kidding. Because like, listen, like you tell me if I'm wrong. If you're not feeling yourself, they're not going to feel it.
Yeah.
So you got to feel yourself in those moments. Almost being conceited, right?
There's two different Chase Browns.
I go into this character, right? And no matter who it is, whether they're some hot and sexy guy, some hot and sexy girl, or some 80-something-year-old, 90-something-year-old guy or girl, that's not in it to me at all. It's just about trying to get that reaction or trying to like, not only from that one person, but from everybody else. I want everybody else to feel what that one person is feeling. So I'm not thinking about like,
Anything.
no,
It's you.
It's just me and just putting on that show and making them feel sexy. It's actually it's about making them feel sexy, not about me trying to be sexy. It's like make this woman.
You're the sexy prop.
Well, I'm the prop, but in my head, it's like, how do you make them feel like they're special in that moment?
Right.
And that's all I'm thinking.
In a weird way, you kind of like being conceited, like not conceited, but in that moment, like that's what they want.
Yeah.
They want that confidence. You have to, not I'm not saying you're faking it, but the show is that confidence.
That's what they're there for.
Yeah, that's what they're there for.
Yeah,
right. So I don't
that.
think that's a bad answer. I think that's probably like the best answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, look at me, dumb questions. So my next question was, and you could go into a couple parts of this.
Mhm.
First, gay event you did. Were you nervous? Like, was it different? Like, how did you feel doing your first? Do you remember what your first event was? That was like something like a pride event. I said gay event.
No,
I meant like pride event.
Actually, I think I kind of creeped into it in Austin. That there was a little bar that I started doing small shows at, and the crowds weren't really big at all. So I was really nervous at first because I wasn't going to have my women audiences to feed off
Your
of.
blanket. Yeah.
So I remember being totally nervous at first, but after a few shows, it's just performing is just performing.
Yeah.
So it kind of went away. What I mean, it's like,
What about your first like big
Like
did you
gay-
have you done like brunches and shit?
no, not really brunches, but like big clubs and different,
Yeah. What was that like?
I think once I get out there, it's all kind of the same. So I don't think it was a big.
Well, I mean, look, I'm just gonna say, if I was like singing and dancing, and you put me in a club with just a bunch of women,
Yeah.
like I want to act totally different than I would if I was just performing for a bunch of men, right? And
Yeah.
in your case, you're putting you in a club with a bunch of men,
Yeah.
right? I mean, there has to be good-looking dudes there.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, I was just wondering if it was like, if you're just like, do you get inside your head? Like, are you like thinking differently? Like, do you get like
It's two different chases.
Yeah,
But
now,
so
now
okay,
I'm
so
so
let me-
switched on now that, and I think it just.
So let me ask you this. In the same way that you can be being on Chase, I don't know what we're going to call this, or we'll just call it Chase and then Chase Brown. But you're going to be Chase Brown, right? And you look over and you catch Jarrod's eye, and for a moment you're like out of it.
Yeah.
Do you ever do one of the pride events and you catch some really good looking dude's eye, and then for a minute you're like, oh, I'm out of it. And you have to kind of draw yourself back in.
No, I kind of, what I do is I'll take in that people are paying attention, and that's kind of like fuel, but then I'll move on to the next person. I won't let that.
You can't, right?
I just have to keep moving on, but I use it. I use it all. It's just fuel.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's similar to what you do at your other shows. It's just you're using a different energy.
Yeah.
Per se.
Yeah. But I mean, basically when the music starts and when I go out there, it's like, I disappear. I go away.
I mean, Renee and I have seen him at gay clubs in Las Vegas. You did karaoke one night at a gay club that you took us to.
Oh, yeah.
When we were all there.
Oh man, I have another question.
But the
Go.
performance there was exactly like his performances at a quote unquote straight club. I mean, it wasn't any different because there's two Chases. When he puts on that cowboy hat, it is the Chase Brown, the performer, and that is one person.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't matter. I can tell you, if it's like he said earlier, it could be an 80-year-old woman, it could be a hot dude, it could be a straight 20-year-old girl that's hot as hell. It's always the same performance, and it's always the same love and the same energy. Now, Chase Brown, the human, that changes everything. That's a different human, because he's not doing the show, and that's when you see his ability to be like in tune with another human.
Oh yeah.
Because we've seen him
Yeah.
in his scenarios where he's interested in a person.
I'm not really in like hookup zone when I'm Chase Brown.
No, you are not. That is what's so funny, because
I'm not thinking
people, if you don't know you,
I'm putting on a sexy show, but I'm not thinking sexually.
right, you don't.
That makes sense.
Well, I would kind of you're being a professional. You take this job very seriously.
A performer.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's obvious. Like, it's obvious you take it very seriously. And that's what I love. I love like that. I mean, again, the way I word it is like, if you don't believe your bullshit, nobody else will. And like, you're selling this and you believe it. So then I believe it. And that's so cool. Like, that's the feeling, you know, when you talk about all these little things you do, like, that's the feeling you're really getting at, is like, you're like, look, I'm selling this dream and it's coming true. Yeah. And that's really a really cool feeling. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're creating a moment that people remember, that they take with them forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it still feels like an accomplishment, even though like there haven't been, I can get so nervous or like anxious about like, oh man, is this show going to be good? And I'm so blessed, knock on wood, to say this, but like, I haven't had bad things happen at performances, really. I mean, I haven't, well, there was a few drunken nights in my younger days. Oh yeah.
Oh
like,
yes.
I mean, in my younger days, I was a hot mess, but in my later,
haven't seen that in years.
Yeah. Decades.
10 plus years.
Yeah.
10 plus years.
Do you want to tell a good drunk story? Like
well, I think Jarrod.
What year do you want to start in?
No. This is
listen,
not like right. Look, I just want like one quick story of like,
listen, so
like maybe the moment you're like, hey, I got to stop doing this shit. Maybe that story.
Okay, yeah. So one night I had a show, and we're talking line out the door, hundreds and hundreds.
Were you nervous?
Of people. Probably. I was probably anxious and nervous.
How old are you?
No, at the same time though, there was a moment where I got cocky, and I got, well, the thing was, me as a person, I feel like I've always been sweet and humble, but there was a time where I got so much attention at once, and being so young and being in a, big fish in a very small pond, that the alcohol could turn me into just a little shit. You know what I mean? Like just anybody. I mean, it's just a lot. Well, for the most part, when I'm performing, I could throw back the shots and still perform, like jump on a ladder, do whatever, and not miss a beat. But one night in particularly, this dumbass guy named kept bringing me up these shots of, was it Tawaka bombs? Was that a thing? Just nasty stuff.
Disgusting.
But I mean, before I'm going, and he keeps coming up, and I'm like, no, I got to go. And they just kept going and going and going. And I'm talking, there's a balcony of people. There's the dance floor. Every table is taken.
Easily 600 to 700 people.
I think it was 8 on this one, because they were maxed out.
It was packed.
I got so wasted that I think I sang a few songs over again and repeated, and then I played the Lady Gaga Bad Romance song and was like doing rah, rah, rah. Here's the bad part though. A young lady is having her bachelorette party. She climbs up my ladder and is just kind of having a good time with her, deal. And apparently she was in the bathroom later crying that Chase stuck his hand up my skirt and my husband's going to find out. Everybody's going to think I'm but I like made this girl feel so bad. And I don't remember any of it. I mean, I woke up, I didn't know where my car was, where my phone was, where anything was. I mean, it was just a rock bottom moment in front of everybody. It was just, you learn quick in those moments, because you just can't afford to do that ever again. The fact that I even got to do a show at that same venue again is crazy to me, but it's like, everybody's like, oh, Chase, at that point, it was just like.
But that was it. That was like to me,
rock bottom.
From a performance standpoint, we were just shocked that night, because it was not like you from a performance standpoint, because you were
it was just alcohol. It was alcohol. It's hard when you're in a business where your job is to sell alcohol every night, from when you're even too young to even buy alcohol, and your whole life is just kind of wrapped around that. To find that happy medium is a struggle, I
Yeah.
think. But I've been good at, like, now what I learned from a guy in Vegas who's been performing for years and years and years is he'll kind of do these cleanses where he'll do his thing and he'll have fun and drink his Fireball or whatever. And then you might go try to buy him a drink one night and be like, oh no, I'm on the wagon right now or whatever. So I like to go 5, 6, 7, 8 months with nothing but water. I mean, not even tea, just water for months and months and months, get in shape, go crazy. And then let my hair down and have a few months of having some drinks with friends. But I couldn't tell you the last time I've been, drunk or whatever, because it's just work. But
Did you when you were able to drink, did you ever need alcohol to perform?
No, but it became such a thing that
Easy.
everybody else, like, I wouldn't go to the bar, but it kind of became, I mean, even when I first got to Vegas, like, Fireball had gotten really big, and Fireball, and the shot people, it became, and the bar's selling the shots, so they're not mad. They're making a shitload of money because people are buying me stuff, but it just, you have to start kind of fibbing, where I got to the point where I would say, just pour some tea in a shot glass and make it look like, you're doing it to me. But I've never needed it. It's just been like too easily accessible.
It's right there, right?
Yeah, it's right there. So that was one.
Okay.
And then I've had another one that is just in the audience every night and just in awe and just like the most uplifting, and you're so beautiful. You're the most, they could sit back in the back and just love that. So I've kind of had both.
I have a question.
Both aspects of it.
When you had the guy that was so appreciative, this is gonna sound so shit. Was it boring?
It was.
Don't be lying. Don't be lying. And not look. Hey, we could be talking about any relationship. Not a specific
they
person.
become part of the crowd.
What? What do you mean?
They become part of. They're not elevated outside of that in a relationship, because then they're part of the adoring crowd that loves Chase.
I think I got to a point where I, neither one of us were just being fulfilled for whatever reason, but I wouldn't say bored.
I feel so dick saying bored, but it's more of like there's a dance. And there has to be a push and pull.
Yeah.
And there has to be this thing. And
and I've never thought about it like that, but I am kind of a challenge person. So as much as I can appreciate how much love that I got from that, I can also appreciate at the same time that maybe you're right. Yeah.
Hey, do you know one of the greatest things my girlfriend does for me?
What's that?
She has never listened to an episode of my podcast.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm calling the police.
But here, like, she's
horrible.
Let me phrase it for you, okay? She's so supportive of this whole thing. Like, when you come in the house, like, she got your drinks,
supportive.
right?
Yeah.
Right. And you come.
She was great.
You come in,
She's very supportive.
She did like the pre-interview.
Yeah. She's good. Like, what I love about her is that this always feels like home. And then people come in and it feels like a home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, cozy.
And allowing this to be mine and allowing me to do it and then supporting me do it and giving me time to do it away from them and stuff like that. Like, what else do I need?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A lot of partners aren't willing to do that.
But I think it's more of like, I've asked her about it before. Sorry, babe. I've asked her about it before, and she's like, kind of like,
she's not listening, hon.
No.
She's not listening.
That's right. That's right. She didn't listen. I've asked her before, and she basically like said like, I don't want to hear something that I don't want to hear. And I've said like, I'm not going to say anything out. I'm not going to put something on the internet that I wouldn't tell you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the private stuff is like private, but it's telling old stories or this, that, and the other. There might be something that makes you feel uncomfortable. And I don't think she's avoiding it. I just think it's like, well, if you don't like chocolate, Why are you going to try to eat chocolate? If you know that something might be there that would harm you, and just, let it be yours. But I think she also trusts
Do you
me.
think she's protecting her or she's protecting you? Or what do you think by her not watching in her head? What do you think is the reason why she
I
doesn't?
think that,
Not protecting, but just like,
I hate to give like a BS answer, but I think it's a little bit of both. I think that it just allows it to be mine. And not that I would do anything else any different,
yeah.
but like she just lets it be mine. And so there's not that, we never have that struggle of like, she's like an adoring fan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm confident enough in our relationship to know that just because she's not listening doesn't mean, she's supportive of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
She just lets it be mine.
Yeah. No, I love that. There's a very thin line. And I wonder one day, I don't know if I'll ever settle down, because I do for little parts of time, and I fall deeply in love. But then I feel like the most productive I've ever been in my life, or the most hungry I am, is when I'm alone, or single.
Well, it's
because I am I give as much of that love too, and then it takes away from
Chase Brown,
from the struggle the hustle,
Well,
and instead of doing a gig, it's like, well, I'd rather be on the couch with my baby.
yeah.
And you might say no to things that you would have said yes to if you needed to do something. So I'm kind of a hopeless romantic. I feel like my whole life will be just sporadic, little, heavy, intense, loving relationships, and hopefully keeping those people, the ones that can, keep them in your life in a way. I've been really good with most of them, with a few exceptions of, like even in Victoria, my girlfriend from high school, I went to go visit her and her 2 kids last night. I try to think that in most of my relationships, if you liked me ever, you should like me forever. There shouldn't be anything that will break, of course things change, but I don't want to cut people out of my life completely. So I hope that I can keep most of them, but I don't think I'll ever be with one.
Are you doing that for them, or are you doing that for you?
I don't know. I think I get so close to people.
It's hard to let them go a little bit, huh?
Yeah. I don't let a whole lot of people in my kind of little world. So when they're there, it's like they get all of it at once. And then when they go, it's like, who do I share this with? I think it is hard letting go. So I'll hold on longer than I probably should sometimes.
I think also that's probably there's a little bit of that chase that when you have to be on.
Yeah.
Like there's a little bit of that adrenaline, knowing that like there's somebody out there that doesn't hate you. You know what I mean? Like it's a little bit, it's hard to like let go sometimes, to go like, like, I guess this person's just not going to like me. Like in the back of your mind, you're always like, I wish I could change that just a little bit.
It kills me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's probably my greatest flaw, is that
but I think that's a pretty common flaw.
Well, absolutely. But and that might be another thing that keeps me, going. So, keep doing what I'm doing, is because I have to keep proving it over and over and over again. The acceptance, applause is acceptance and love to me. And there can be all these people loving it, but I will always see or hear, no matter how loud the speakers is, I'll hear that 20-year-old you that thought I was a dick on the ladder.
Yeah.
I'll always know you're there. So all those other people, I'll sing harder.
But you're looking you're trying to get that guy.
I want that guy.
I think that's, yeah.
And that's why you do another show. That's why you book another show, because you got to keep proving them wrong. And the ones that said, I can still remember when I went to Vegas the first time, a comment on victoriaadvocate.com that said he is just an overhyped karaoke singer and he'll be back in no time. and I can still feel that, I will prove that son of a bitch wrong. I will show that. And it was Victoria Advocate, so there was no name. It was anonymous, but I still think of that son of a bitch that said, I'm just an overhyped up karaoke singer. Oof. Oof. You know, why do I care? I've got so much love in my life, but that still is down there going, you got to win that person over. Maybe he read the article that came out last year when you did Schrader Hall and sold, you know, like
I think great people do that. A lot of great people motivate themselves in these ways. Like great sports athletes all the time talk about the way they motivate themselves in their mind. And you really like.
It sounds petty saying it out loud.
No, but like there's a certain level of when I do this podcast. This is Scottie G. And I have to be a little on because I'm doing a podcast, but like, you know, I have a whole podcast playlist that I listen to like just get me like in the mind space of like trying to do something really cool, right? And so I think it's a very normal thing for people that are successful in the kind of things that you do, that you have to have kind of a switch. You flip it on, flip it off. Yeah. You know what I mean? Okay, so I have a quick question. Have you ever used karaoke to pick up dudes, like gone to a karaoke bar and like, cause I mean, like if you go to, what, do you have a story?
No.
Well, cause like if you go to a karaoke bar, you're going to sing pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like, I mean, it's just like, you know, you just kind of mosey on in there like a pool shark and then all of a sudden you just bust out. So do you have,
I hear later tonight there's karaoke at the Bear.
The Iron Bear.
The Iron Bear has karaoke tonight. So
are you going to do it?
Stay tuned.
Of course he will.
Hey, I need you to
Here's what's funny,
to film all that shit.
It's funny that you ask these questions because he doesn't go up with an agenda, but we've been with him multiple times where like, and just in passing, we weren't trying to go to somewhere that's karaoke, but like karaoke will be happening and we'll just be in the bar and then Chase will get up and sing, you know, one song. Well, then it's always fascinating because then all of a sudden this crowd just appears. And I don't care what anybody says. We've seen it a million times. Every single time it's so much fun to watch because a crowd will appear and then they're like, wait, who is this guy? Can he sing more? Blah, blah, blah. And then Chase is like, well, I mean, I can sing one more song. And then all of a sudden we're 4 hours into a set that he's just there to have a good time for.
This is your superpower.
But it's enjoyment. You enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's not a forced, I've never seen it as a forced thing.
But two, the way I see it is like if you were a stand-up comedian and you had a show, but then you would hit a small nightclub and just do a set.
Absolutely.
That's essentially what it is. Like it's like sharpening your sword because like you're dropping into a totally different environment than you usually sing in.
So listen,
it makes you a better performer, right?
So, when you were in California, when you just went on vacation.
Listen, 2 weeks ago, Denise, my manager, knew that my December is crazy and she's got a timeshare. So instead of her taking her trip to Palm Springs on her timeshare, she said, you know what, Chase, like we could go together. We could, you know, have a couple girls go. She said, you take my timeshare and just have some Chase time, go to Palm Springs and stay a couple of days and just don't sing, don't worry about anything. Cause I love to vacation or kind of go places by myself. Like the first time I went to Vegas was by myself for a week. I love being around a bunch of people and I love my crew of people. But when I go somewhere, I'm so worried about making sure everybody's okay that I don't experience things the same way as when I just go alone and I can be just, it's just how I that's my downtime, you know?
Well, it's the two people that Jarrod's talking about.
Yeah. So I go and I go to the best steakhouse in Palm Springs and I just go up to the bar and I'm by myself. And I'm like, I want a steak dinner and I want a martini. And I have a great conversation with the bartender at this high-end place. And it's just a wonderful, I love the quiet. Most people are like, I could never go out to eat by myself. And I'm like, oh, that is my shit. I meet the best people when I'm by myself because I'm not worried about upsetting who I'm with. I can open up with strangers when I'm by myself. And so I'm having the best time and I'm strolling back and I hear music coming from a little place. It's between the steakhouse and my hotel. And so I'm like, let me walk in here. So I sit at the bar And there's these two guys that look over me. Chase, we had just met at a party. My friend Mark O'Toole is an entertainer. He won Star Search a long time ago.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he won the
That's
big,
dope.
like Ed McMahon Star Search, right?
That's
He had a
awesome.
mullet about like this, and he sang It's Only Make Believe by Conway Twitty, and he killed it. And he's a headliner in Vegas. He's got a show coming up in December at the South Point Casino. He's amazing. Well, he had a little party at his house, and I went and met all these people. And he did this really cool thing at his party. At the time, I hated it. But looking back at it, everybody at his party, we all kind of gathered around the kitchen, and he made everybody go around and say how they met him or how they know him or who they are, what they do. It was like an introduction to every single person that was here, because there's different walks of life. People had come from out of town to see his big, debut of his show. And so by the end, you kind of know everybody, and it was uncomfortable for some of them. They're like hiding behind walls, not wanting their turn. But here are two of those guys that had their turn at that party that are just randomly in Palm Springs. And it's karaoke going on. And they're like, we've never heard you sing. We want to come to your show. Could you just please do one song for us? And I was like, fuck, this is my vacation, but okay, I'll go sign up. So I go and I sign up for a song, do one song. And next thing you know, the guy that's running the show comes over to me about 15 minutes later. He's like,
You gotta do
brother,
another
you
song."
got to sign up for another song, So I had a moment. I ended up having so much fun. And I do this a lot when I'm like self kind of thinking, where I'll kind of hold on to some of the thoughts that I'm having. And one that I actually shared it with Jarrod just randomly the other night, was how happy it made me that after all this time, I still love it that much. That I still, even when I get a chance to not have to do what you always have to do, I do it, and it lights me up, and it just makes me so happy. And it's karaoke, but I was putting on a show. I mean, giving it to them. And I love how blessed I am that I still love it. And I'm not like, this is work or this is singing. It's like, it's still that same tingle, man.
Well, let me say something. I'll tell you this for free. If I'm going to sing karaoke, I want to be the dude that's good.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the dude that's bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't want to be there
everybody's
to be
talking
the
about
bad
him.
guy.
Yeah,
You wanna own
it.
God bless. If I do an amazing fucking show and like one person's like,
Oh,
I wouldn't give a
worst.
fuck. I was like, at least I don't suck.
Yeah.
At least I don't suck.
A lot of people don't care, though. I mean, a lot of people are fine with not being.
That's
good at-
ballsy.
Seen
It's
it a million
ballsy.
times.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
So, okay. So like how I like to always wrap this thing up is I like to ask people like, how do you balance your life? Like, what do you do to make sure you're the best version of yourself so you can perform and do all your stuff? Like, do you work out? Do you meditate? As music therapy? Like, what do you do?
So I do workout, I think is very, very important. I've got actually a personal trainer named Matt
He's got a personal trainer.
I got a personal trainer. Matt has been amazing for me.
Consistency, right?
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. And you can tell when something is going on and you have to take like a few weeks off or you have to, focus on something else. I feel just empty when I don't have that, 2 to 3 times a week of being there. So I think working out is important. I like to go for runs. I like to go for jogs after work. I used to go out to bars after the show. And now it's like I just want to go home, be with my cat, be quiet. Like I need the quiet of it all. And you think being on Fremont Street and being, when you walk out of the show and it's just, you're in the elevator and you've got everything you could want right there as far as entertainment or fun. What's important is just to just kind of calm down. And I can't wait to get the cowboy hat off these days and just get my cat and just, he's a gay kitty, the gay kitty's a gay kitty, and just be goofy, because I'm, like I say, you're on, and you're just, everything is about making everybody feel good and feel special. Then I think it's really important to just have alone time.
Would you say, are you an empath? Would you say you're empathic?
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, and to do what you do at your level and like try to get people to feel like you kind of have to be empathic, but it can be draining, right?
Oh,
And probably it served a purpose like when you were younger, and
yeah.
that's kind of flipped a little bit, I bet, right?
Yeah, it is. And you know, especially now my stepfather passed away last year in December, and I've moved my mom to Las Vegas so I could kind of have her close to me to take care of her. She's got lots of health issues. So that too has kind of changed where, you know, it was just me going and blowing and shooting, you know, and now it's like, okay, I got to call, make sure mom's okay, make sure this is okay. I just kind of feel like almost the man of the house again at a different time. So I'm juggling.
Look at
a
you
lot of
being an
things.
adult.
I know, it's weird, but that all that stuff together, I think, keeps me good, you know, and even
Well, you found the balance of the whole thing, right?
yeah, I think
Like
so.
you realize I can't blow and go all the time. I can't be doing
No, yeah,
I have to like I wear myself out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
And you're younger, you can kind of do that too.
you can get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now also I hold myself to a higher standard now. And one, speaking of working out and stuff, is I did just about a year ago, I did a photo shoot for all the promotional stuff, calendars, and like that picture I just signed for you
Yeah.
and all that stuff, t-shirts. So I took, I mean, 7 months, 8 months, I was a freak. I mean, it was grilled chicken, broccoli, rice, trainer, and water, and no alcohol, no anything. My whole life was just on that. And I had a mission, you know. And what's really crazy is we did some of the photos downtown on Fremont Street. And this was before my residency. And the photographer asked me, what do you want to accomplish with these photos? And I said, well, I want to be the biggest damn star on the strip. I just want to be a staple on the Las Vegas entertainment landscape. I want my cowboy hat to be somewhere in that. And I think about a month later, I got my residency after those pictures came out, was when things started just kind of going and just it just kind of led to now those pictures that he was taking when he asked me are on Fremont Street on posters when you're going up elevators and stuff, you know?
You were focused, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Like,
was
is that addictive? Did you yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Just, it was,
It's that much more control, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the grind. So
Yeah.
I think that was, it's important to focus on that for a while, but where was I going with that? I forgot.
Well, I was talking about what you do to be the best version of yourself. And so
Yeah,
you were
so
kind of
there you
talking
go.
about like, hey, I really grinded this out, and you reap rewards from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, working out and running and just being a good boy
For the most part.
for the most part. And then I'm a turbo sled on the weekends.
Well, on that note, did you have a good time? Did you have fun?
I had so much fun. This was great. And just, I mean, come on, I might be on this wall. You guys. I'm
Hey,
gonna
if
live
you
on
have
here.
an out, like, do you have any albums?
So that's this year's goal. That's
You
this year's.
just talked about that.
Okay,
That's
well
funny
then we
that-
just put
it's
an
funny that
album
you bring
on the
that
wall.
up.
Literally, I'm putting out a vinyl.
Yeah,
So
well, yeah, okay, yeah.
That's the only way to do it. And I
He
want
has
to do
the next goal is fascinating. You need to talk about it because I loved hearing about. Or should we not talk about your next goal with
Is
The
it,
Ameri-
it might be
Great
it might be
American-
secret, Jared.
the Great American
Yeah,
Songbook?
so-
no, it's fascinating.
Well, so, you know, I think a lot about Michael Bublé and how when he came out, it was like he put out the Great American Songbook type of albums with Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and all these things. And they were covers, if you will, of these great songs, but they were like his voice, his spin, his style. And then he became a thing on his own. Well, there's so many songs to me in country and country pop and crossover and stuff that are gone and will probably never be known or recognized by people that weren't there, that weren't living in that, you know? And I would love to just be kind of the country version of like doing just what's made my career is these covers, but like having musicians go in and redoing different versions of some of the songs that have given me this career, and just making them my own and putting out an album of that, put like one original song and then just the songs that people love from a different era. And just being like, that's kind of going to be my next year's goal.
I had another musician on, and he does covers, right? And he does a very unique thing where like he plays the electric ukulele, and then he has like a beats machine, and then he kind of does his own version of all these covers. Very unique, right? And I think there's just like there's good music and bad music, or music you like or don't like or whatever. I think that there's a space for someone that has their own spin on stuff, and they do it in their own way, and then it can be appreciated, and especially where music is now, where it's so accessible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people find and love things all the time because you can get it like at the pop. It's like different than when we were kids. I had to go to Walmart and like buy a CD.
Yeah.
Now I can just go on my phone and I can find any genre of music I want done by any person. And
It's
like you're
crazy.
discovering new music at its rate. So I think it's great. You know what I think about? Like I look at these albums, and like some of these, I'm like, who the fuck are these people? Like, I mean, and that guy put out an album, right? And I have no idea who he is. I have no idea what he sings or why he did. Was that his only album? Stuff like that. But like, he put an album out.
Yeah.
Like that's more than I fucking did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's really cool.
He did
Definitely,
that.
we have to put one on the wall.
Well, and you'll live forever. And even my aunt just yesterday gave me a cassette of a tape with my mom's beautiful picture on it, where she's singing Patsy Cline's Crazy and all these songs that I haven't been able to hear her sing in years. And I'm so excited to get home and convert this cassette to CD like I did her last one. I want, it's time for me to make something like that, where in 50 years, people can hear me even when I can't sing anymore, you know? So that was...
I have an idea.
What's that?
What if you remade your mom's album? The songs that she sang, you remade those songs.
I've thought about maybe like doing some duets with those tracks.
Like Nat King Cole, like
Absolutely.
that thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
So yeah, a few years ago we
all used to sing together.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
And it's killed me to not have her on stage with me in over 12 years. But we surprised her last year with it was like her more recent tape, you know, that she had done. And she hadn't heard it in years. And I found a cassette, and we made the CD with the picture and the cover and everything, and like presented it to her and played it for her. And so she gets to listen to herself in the car now. So I've never really recorded because it's just been show.
Yeah.
So this year is my year to just invest in me and just get in the studio and make something where even if I can't sing, I can still be heard. And I think that's very important.
So one more thing before we go, and this is just kind of like a quick yes or no. Do you think not drinking really made a huge difference on your focus and doing this? Like, do you think it made you more clear-headed and like more focused?
Absolutely. If nothing else, but see, at the same time, I'm also not, you know, I think moderation is great when you can do it, but I think sometimes you need to prove to yourself. I think it's
like
more about
how committed are you?
I think everybody should, even if they're just moderate drinkers, it's like, okay, yeah, you just drink on the weekends. Take 4 months off. Just see if you can and see what changes in your life, you know? And
you might like it.
You might like it.
Yeah.
And I
or
do.
You might readjust the way you drink just in general,
Absolutely.
right?
I think it's very important. Like right now, just take a break. Take a breather for a little bit. And it definitely puts things in focus, and it gets, I think it's very important. At the same time, once you accomplish something, once you get a good goal, I think it's important to cheers and have a good drink and have a good time. And we're going to do that tonight.
Yeah. Well, man, I ask everybody to give me a hug. So if you want to push that microphone out. And then, hey, you going to come over here?
Oh, I'll hug. Yeah.
You're on the podcast, dude. Thank you.
The narrator.
The narrator.
Thank you for doing this. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. Yeah. I'll sit down.